Alright, what's up there, Cubites? I am Chris Cote, and this is another edition of Cote's Cube. Today we're doing something a little different. This is the Marketplace edition of Cote's Cube. I'm here with the publisher of Transworld Business, Mr. Rob Campbell.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Very serious markets.
Alright, so Rob, I just kind of wanted to inform our viewers. You know, every time I turn on the news, you know, NPR, I hear, I'm sorry.
Yeah, very intellectual.
I hear recession, dire straits, we're all going to die. I brought you on because I just kind of wanted to get an update from you about, I guess, the economy of surf. So tell me about it.
Wow, so I'm supposed to reassure the markets here. I'm sure you're probably not going to die from surf. That's probably not going to happen. It's not going to be that bad. Economy of surf. Well, there's a couple of different things we can look at right now. We just went through 2 trade shows. You're there. For the people on the outside don't know, you know, there's a couple of big trade shows every year where where you were hanging out and doing live updates from.
Yeah, we were live there together.
We were doing a good job there. But the mood there overall was pretty mixed. It was kind of level. You know, people, I think, cautiously optimistic would be the term to use.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of wants to believe that we're going to kind of work through the economic problems. Obviously, surf being a pretty heavy discretionary income type sport.
Yeah, that's definitely, you know, that's kind of like a part that I was wondering. Like, you know, a lot of people when you watch news, they talk about these giant businesses and corporations that are getting bought, sold, and bailed out. And I think a lot of people, you know, just normal dudes that surf or whatever, they kind of wonder, like, well, how is that going to affect me? So, you know, maybe, like, tell me about, I guess, you know, surf brands, surfboards, trunks. Are people still buying that stuff? Like, how's that doing?
Well, according to a lot of the retailers around here, people are still buying that stuff. Like I said, we talked to Todd Roberts at DJ Boarding House last week for a feature we're working on at Transworld Business about how the increased price of oil is affecting things and raw materials and all that. And he's saying that people are still buying stuff, but it's been pulled back a little bit. He's saying, like, a guy, you know, a lot of our customers that would come in and buy like 3-4 new boards a year, now instead of just coming in and buying a new board, they're bringing in 2 of their older boards to sell them first. So people are kind of trying to hedge their bets a little bit and trying to be a little more cautious overall.
For sure. So how do you think the average surfer is being affected by the big recession?
Well, it depends. I mean, if you lose your job, then you have more time to surf.
So you might buy more gear.
But yeah, I mean, again, it's like the surfer, as far as, you know, your core surfer's going out every day, you're probably going to surf either way. What we're seeing as far as when they talk about the markets, you know, the bigger companies being affected, they make a lot of their big dollars on apparel. You know, like, you know, nationwide. You're talking your kids in the Midwest who like the whole surf vibe. They're going to school with the Quicksilver shirts on, the Billabong shirts, things like that. You know, when those sales go down, that hurts a lot of these bigger corporations. It's not really, I don't think it's affecting so much your everyday surfer. It's more affecting the industry overall, because we have such, in the surf industry now is over like a $7 billion industry. It's huge.
Yeah.
So when you get into those huge numbers, you're talking a really wide scale. So you need, you know, things to be really firing to keep those numbers, keep that growth.
Yeah, tell me about, like, you talk about scale. Surf industry is a $7 billion industry. What's now what's like a scale? Let's say what's the car industry compared to the surf industry?
Exponentially bigger. The car industry.
20 billion.
I would say. You know, I actually have to double check to get a number on that. But these days, probably a lot less. Not many cars selling. You know, Detroit. Those guys will tell you they're down a bit. But
okay. Well, now let's talk about this. Cote's Cube. We are seeing some financial issues.
Have there been cutbacks?
I might have to fire my producer Justin Cote.
It's gonna be difficult because your brother. That's gonna be really tough.
I'm gonna have to set up the tripod and film it. But
wow.
You know how? Let's say this. If let's say, you know, we all know that surfboard shapers, you know, are the guys that eventually, I think, they feel the brunt, because new boards, buying a brand new board is the most expensive thing you can buy. How can we, as like a whole, as surfers, how can we help, I guess, these guys, you know, sustain their market worth? How can, you know, I'm trying to talk all financially smart.
Right, you're sounding pretty good. You're sounding if you see it as the role of the everyday surfer to sustain the independent shape, then of course, you know, you can buy more boards and surf more and break more boards.
Stop asking for bro deals.
Exactly.
Pay an extra $20.
I mean, that's hitting home now. I mean, people actually have to pay right there. That's no
right.
joke. But yeah, I mean, we actually did a pretty. I brought charts and graphs.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're, you know, obviously, if you're interested in the business of surfing, which it's actually a really interesting deal. Transworld Business. Now, how can the people who maybe, if I don't own Billabong or I don't work as a surf shop buyer, how do I get this magazine and what am I going to see?
You go right.
Hold it up.
Okay, let's get.
You talk, I'll read.
All right, you go to transworldbusiness.com. You can subscribe right on the website. A lot of good. This particular issue has a lot of stats about hard goods manufacturers.
Cool.
Yeah, talking about obviously they're seeing a lot of increase in prices because the petroleum prices going up. That affects everything down the line. But,
oil prices.
Oil prices. You've been hearing about that. Luckily, you know, the average price points on boards have gone up, and demand has stayed pretty solid. We found out in doing a lot of research, retail stuff, that boards are actually still selling pretty well. Of course, this now was a couple months ago, so things are changing all the time.
All right, well, that's good. Thank you. So basically, you feel like we're still dipping, or do you feel like we're on the verge of a financial turnaround in the surf world?
Wow. Well, I feel that hopefully the surf world, especially because it's very specialized, you know, people are more passionate about it. I think we can show a little more resilience than the general market. I think people are more likely to pay a little bit more for a good brand they really like at a store they're used to going to, rather than spending money for some generic brand at a retail store.
Well, it's worth it. I mean, school these days, you got to look cool.
It's very important to look cool. Even around the office, we got to look cool around here.
Hell yeah.
So hope the optimism
optimism
can't hurt.
Well, this was not just an advertisement for Transworld Business. We actually learned something today, which is a first for Cote's Cube. Thank you to my guest, Rob Campbell. And if you want to check out this magazine, it's actually really cool. The exposometer tells you who, just like, give me 5 seconds on the exposometer.
It just tracks the surfers that get the most coverage in the magazines.
Yeah, so currently who's on top of the exposometer? Who is the biggest photo slut in surfing?
I believe Kelly won last year. Nick is up there. You kind of, this time of year, it's going back and forth. So
and it goes advertising and editorial. So
advertising and editorial. Jordy Smith is in the mix right now. McFadden, Kelly Slater. So we'll see.
Cool. So give us your website again.
Transworldbusiness.com.
All right. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something. I learned something. I learned that I'm not going to nickel and dime my shaper to death because oil prices are killing everybody. Carpool to the beach.
Absolutely, that's helps the environment too. It's good.
Yeah,
it's great. Shower together. Is that the one?
That was it.
Bumper stickers out there.
That was the marketplace Transworld Business version of Cote's Cube, and we'll see you next week with an awesome pro surfer. Hope you have a good week. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go log on to Transworld Business website. We're out of here.